let's create our login form now. And in this login form, we will see how to create custom validation methods for our form that will help us to create a login validation method directly from inside the form. Back to users controller and our login method, which is the index method. So let's copy some of the validation from here. I think this is I think it's quite similar to what we're gonna do. So yeah, let's grab it all. And let's paste it, I think, here. Yes, so we don't need this. And we don't need this. We remove the unique check. And we remove password confirm. But here I would like to add one custom validation method that we will name, and that will be named like validate user validation, validate user, let's say, validate user, which will take two parameters, email and password, which are the fields, the name of the fields that we need to validate the user. And also I would like, because this is a custom method, we don't have an error message within the CodeIgniter system, so we'll have to create it ourselves. How we do that? We do that by creating a new variable, let's say errors. Within this variable we can change any, we can customize any error message for each of these default validation methods. But the only thing we will do now is just to create the initial error message for the validate user, because there is no one. So the errors will take, like for the first key, the name of the field that contains that method, password, and then we go inside the password and we say that validate user, in case it is false, will show us email or password don't match. Yeah, we have to escape like that. And now, having said that, errors, let's pass also errors as a second parameter inside the validate method. So again, if validation is not successful, then create this validation variable so we can pick up all the errors. Else we will change the logic a little bit here, because we don't need to save anything. So let's comment this out for now, and let's create this validate user method and see how you add some custom stuff to your CodeIgniter 4 installation. So let's go and create a new folder inside our app folder. Let's call it validation. validation. Here we go. Inside the validation, let's create a file and let's name it user rules. User rules.php. So now let's give it a namespace. App validation. Let's bring in also the user model. App models user model. And let's create our class now. Class user rules. Again, the file name should be the same as the class name. Let's create public function validate user. So this is where the name of the validation rule comes in. It should be exactly the same as the rule that you have specified in our login logic. So this validate user will take 3 parameters. The first parameter is string, then it will take the fields, and now it will take the data. So we say model equals new user model say user equals model where email equals equals data email, and let's chain it with get first method, get first result, sorry. So now we can check if user with this email exists. Actually, let's check if it doesn't exist. If no user found, we will return false. So the custom validation rules can return either false, either true. And this is how the validation mechanism will, from the CodeIgniter, will understand either the validation is passed or not. So in case there is no user, for sure we return false. Otherwise, let's say that we will return password verify, and we will verify our 2 passwords. So the first one, data password that we have from the user input. The second one is the password hash that we have from our database. So from our user array. So this can return either true, either false, depending on if the password is correct. There is one more thing that we have to do. This class user rules, we have to add it to the set of CodeIgniter rules that it has predefined. So I think we have to go to config validation. Yeah, and let's change it up. So app validation, yeah, that's correct, and user rules. I think that's it. Let's save this And let's check by giving some wrong email and password. Okay, the problem here is that we don't display any errors yet. So that's why we don't see nothing. Yeah, let's go back to our login view. Actually, let's go to the register view. Let's grab this line of these lines of code and bring it back to our login. Right above. Let's put it above here. We take this. Yeah, as you can see, email or password don't match. So maybe it's a good time to add a little bit CSS here. So let's go to our assets. So I have some assets predefined, so just let me just follow up with me here. 7 pixels. From wrapper. Label. Let's make the labels bold. So the errors list style none, width 100%, text align center, and again errors UL, padding left 0, margin bottom also 0. And let's add this media query for max width of 768 pixels. Form wrapper, text right. We don't want it to be text right anymore, so we will align. Yeah, maybe not the best syntax here. Form wrapper btn primary. Also, let's display it below so we can center it. This is the button, the login button. And margin 0 and auto. Yeah, so that's it. Let's close this and check out this part here now. It should align perfectly now. Yeah, much better. So let me test now. Okay, so we see that our custom method works fine. It gives us the error. It controls the user if it can be validated or not. So in case it returns true, we have to create our user session now. So in order to do that, what we can do is we will have to grab the user once again, because we cannot pass it from our custom validation rule from inside. Therefore, unfortunately, we have to redo this function here once more. So model email this request. Let's get the var of email, and let's just take the first record that we will find. So now we will, let's delete this, we don't need it. So what I want to do is I want to set a session. Therefore, I think we will create a method inside our class, inside our controller. So this, let's call it set user method, where we will pass the user object from our model. And once we do that, we can say, yeah, we don't need this session anymore. We can just redirect to our dashboard. We didn't create it yet. We have not created yet the dashboard, but we will soon. So let's create this set user method. Let's make it a private function that has takes the argument the user object, and it will be really simple. The only thing we have to do is to construct our data the way we want it. So we want ID. This will be user ID. Let's make it a few times, copy paste. Let's give it first name, last name, our email, and let's set the user that it's logged in, and give it a boolean true. Okay, so we have this data object now. The only thing there is to do is let's call it a session set and pass the object inside. Then you can return true. So once we return true, we are back here with our session being set it up, so we can redirect to our dashboard. So what is the dashboard? Let's create a new controller. Let's duplicate our home controller, dashboard, rename it here also. Let's grab some basic stuff like this. And let's initialize the data array for the future use. Let's change this view to dashboard. And let's create a dashboard view. So where we go here, let's go to views, dashboard.php, div container as all of our views. Just let me check. Yeah, so we have row and then call. Okay. Okay, so we have h, let's say h1, hello, and what we have here, we have access to our session, so let's grab the first name of the user from the session. Get first name. Okay, let's check that out. So let me log in with my actual, so it was test Alex Lancer, my password. Perfect. So where we have this issue, user model, so it says that call to a member function first on null, users line 33, users line 33. So we have the issue somewhere here. So let's change, not model, but actually it is model where. So I think this type of mistakes will be common to CodeIgniter 3 developers, because the syntax was a bit different. So it goes like model where, and we specify the column to match this value, and then we want the first record of that. And also I see now this user method. Yeah, so let's change it a bit, because I don't think that the name is appropriate. So set user session. Be aware that I changed it also here. So save this. Let's go now and try again. Okay, so we are logged in to our dashboard. Now let's change our navigation bar based on our login status. So we do that by going into header, and let's say that this, which part we can say, yeah, let's say from here. So if session get is logged in, else, yeah. So if session will be, if we will be logged in, we will show another navbar. If we are not logged in, we will show this one, the one that we already have. So let's just create our new buttons. Let me see the markup. Okay, so this goes here. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's leave only the UL inside the if statement, because the collapse will stay the same. Yeah, let's make it like this. So copy the UL here, and let's say the first one will be the dashboard. Second one will be profile, where we will edit our profile. No capital P. Nav items, login, register. Good. And let's create also a logout button on the right of the navbar. So let's grab one item from here. Let's make it logout and logout. Cool. The only thing we have to do is we have to add a class of navbar here also. Navbar nav my2 my large 0. And what you can see here, it should go, yeah, you see, so we have logout button on the right. Let's fix quickly the active buttons class. So we will do this by adding a class to the to our list items, and for that, in the top, let's start here. Let's open a PHP tag and let's specify 2 variables. So the one is actually the session. Now we don't need session because we can grab it anyway. So let's create a URI service URI. So in using the service method, we are loading the library, the URI library that will give us access to some methods where we can check the segments of our URL. For instance, let's say that here in our dashboard, we want to check if our current navigation is inside the dashboard URL. So what we do is, let's go one class up, and we can say if URI get segment 1. So the segments are the parts of your URL. For instance, let me show here. So now we have HTTP localhost dashboard. So this will be segment 1. This would be segment 2. So this is how simple to get the segment of your URI actually in CodeIgniter. So what we say here, if segment 1 equals dashboard, then echo out active class. Otherwise, do nothing. We can do the same for our profile page that we will create in a few minutes. We go profile, and let's do the same for the login. Instead, only in the login, we say if segment 1 equals nothing, then print the active class. And in our register, oh sorry, wrong. Yeah, not inside the link, inside the list class here. And same here. Yeah, remove dashboard from the login. And let's add the register segment to our register button. So what we should see now is the dashboard button should be highlighted, and it is. So once we create the profile button, it will be also interchangeable. Let's end this part here, and in the next part we will jump straight to creating a profile page where we will manage and update our user details.